All right, last page of notes. But you know what? I think trapezoids are easy. And the reason why, and also don't forget, you can mark up the stuff you need, but also change the diagram if you need to. First, I'm going to find the measure of angle A. Well, I'm going to tell you it's really simple, but I'm going to use the fact I'm going to change the diagram to look this way. I know that angle C and angle D are going to be congruent. Why? They're formed from the same base. Those are base angles of an isosceles trapezoid. So I need to find angle A though. So I know this one's 100 degrees, but I do know that those end up being same side interior angles. Well, same side interior angles are what? Same side sup. So I can solve for the measure of angle A using the fact they're supplementary. So write it like this. The measure of angle A is 180 minus 100. 80 degrees. Cool, isn't it? Less than a minute to do that one problem. How do I know? When I'm recording it, there's a cool timer up there. All right, let's look at the next one. Is that again an isosceles trapezoid? If you're stuck, what do? Properties of an isosceles trapezoid. Oh, the diagonals are congruent. Whew. Okay, diagonals are on there. I know they're congruent. So I know these two are congruent, so remember those two will be the same. Those two will be the same. I'm going to label up the diagram. I know KB is 21.9, which means VM is 21.9. The length of segment FM, this whole thing, is 32.7. I'm looking for FB. Can I do a simple subtraction problem? Yeah. 32.7 minus 21.9, 10.8. So the length of segment FB, 10.8. Oh yeah, and I think it says meters here, so we're just going to label it meters. What do you guys think? Now, let's look at the next one. Again, we're just applying these properties of isosceles trapezoid. Notice they have to be isosceles or we're not doing anything with them. We just don't touch them. The only thing you could do would be work with supplementary angles then. So on this next one right here, it says find the value of A, the variable, so that PQRS is isosceles. Well, if I want it to be isosceles in my brain, guess what I think? Isosceles. And what do I know about base angles since this is working with angles? Base angles are congruent. So I'm going to set these two equal to each other. 2a squared minus 54 is equal to a squared plus 27. So I'm going to subtract a from both sides. Great. Now what I'm going to do to both sides? Add what? Add 54. Great. So a squared equals 81. The reason why I knew not to factor this, and I could still factor doing this, is I don't have an a to the first power. So that gives me freedom to work with it, not have to worry about doing a lot, just treat it like the variable. But now, how do I get rid of the a squared? You take the square root. Remember algebraically what you're doing. You have to put a plus or a minus in front. When I do that, I then get the fact that a is equal to plus or minus 9. Now, in algebra, you'd be like, ooh, I'm all done, yeah. No, you're not anymore. And now we have to take it in context of the problem. If I plug a negative 9 in, do I still get a valid angle measurement? Let's do it in our head. Negative 9 times negative 9, 81. 81 plus 27, 108 degrees. That gives me a positive angle value. It works, so the negative works. We automatically know if I do the same thing with the positive 9, it works. Both answers are valid. Half the time they're not. One might not work. So always double check yourself when you're working with these. All right, let's get the last one down here. The length of segment AD is 12x minus 11, and the length of segment BC is 9x minus 2. Find the value of x so that ABCD is isosceles. So I want these two to be congruent. Well, if that's the case, BC, which is 9x minus 2, and AD is going to be equal to each other because the diagonals of an isosceles triangle have to be congruent. So let's plug it in. So I go 12x minus 11 is equal to 9x minus 2. Subtract 9x. 3x is going to add up to be 9. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. X is equal to 3. All right, not hard stuff to do. But if you're stuck, I would go back and I'd have the properties right nearby. So an awesome lesson. I'm looking forward to see how you guys do on this. And just know that you can call and ask me questions anytime.